Honorable Kendra Matthew Stewart, Minister for Legal Affairs, Carriacou and Puget Martinique Affairs and Local Government. Honorable Emmeline Pear, Minister for Education, Human Resource Development and Religious Affairs. Ms. Ralda Kwamena, Acting Permanent Secretary with responsibility for Carriacou and Puget Martinique Affairs. Mrs. Rosalina Lendor, Education Officer for Carriacou and Puget Martinique Affairs and other education officials. Mr. Brian Lendor, Principal of Hillsborough Secondary School and staff. Principals, staff, and students of all other schools. Mr. Hezron Wilson, President of our PTA and executive members. Other distinguished guests, parents of the graduates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a pleasant good evening. Honorable audience, today I rise before you to propose the motion, be it resolved that we all must embark on a journey to fulfill our potential and purpose. Thrilled to have been given the opportunity, I am not here to deliver a debate speech, rather to deliver the valedictorian address on behalf of the 2018 graduating class of this noble institution. As fresh young minds out of primary school, eager to face the challenges of a foreign secondary school life, we entered this institution in September of 2013. Today, we stand at 32, one of the smallest graduating classes in the school's recent history. When we entered this school 5 years ago, my classmates and I were undoubtedly nervous and anxious. We didn't know what to expect. What would our teachers be like? How would our classmates treat us? What would the secondary school life overall be like? We asked ourselves. Needless to say, the answer was soon found, since it was evident from the get-go that given the diversity of personalities and backgrounds of the students in the class, we were in for an eventful journey, characterized by the many remarkable experiences had and friendships made in the midst of a few unpleasant periods. As we close this chapter in the book of life and open a new one, may we reflect on the past times we have spent here. These past 5 years have been marked by varying emotions, moods, and occasions. Celebrations have helped us to appreciate the value and benefits of hard work and dedication, while losses have served as sobering reminders of the ever-present need to continually work and aspire to greatness. For me, extracurricular activities such as Grenlec Debates, SU Knowledge Bowl, and various school quizzes and competitions of that nature were the highlights of my school life, that which I most highly anticipated. It started literally from the hospital bed while I was in Form 1 awaiting discharge just in time for my first debate. It ended with greater glory for the school, HSS at the said coveted debate in 2016, and the icing on the cake, the SU Knowledge Bowl title this year. The thrilling experiences I have had working with teachers and fellow students are cherished and would never be forgotten. In the same way, I will never forget having to run the 200-meter race for boys for my school at Intersect Games this year, because Leon, Rikel, and Jamali were afraid, so they went and hid. But speaking about track and field, our class had boss athletes. Alia Joseph, gosh, no one could beat her. Christelle, Lakisha, and Samisha, full of stamina. And Shamaya, the queen of the track in the sprints in Form 1, 2, 3, and 4. But recently, surprise, surprise, I'm sure it'll be a close finish if she ran against Alia Raymond or Lashanta. But Ria has strength like a lion, throwing the javelin and discus, medaling in competitions. Ethelyn found herself in the end. Leah, Michaela, and Kayla made their mark on the track. Our class had Dutch ladies too. I mean chefs, Ngozi, Yasha, and Ria. Lene, a competitor, a believer, one who backs herself in all endeavors. You are a determined one. We shared great moments representing our school in many competitions. And Khalil and Delon, some say they are my brothers, even if we have different mothers and fathers. Ryan gives you a joke to make you laugh, and Jordan, a mathematician, can handle any maths. Alex Legard, I believe, will be a mechanic. Almost anything, he can fix it. And Rosianne, shy for so. Shania Knights, just a smile, you know. And Shania Joseph, the one that's little. Oh, how she loves to talk and chew. Akel and Jodish, they are the cricketers. Paul and Kendall, best of buds. I'm sure they'll miss each other. And Joshua, the songster or rap star, the Child Month jingle winner. In Form 1, when the school held its annual Independence Oil Dunk competition, our class won. In Form 2, the school was regrettably forced to convene a meeting with our parents in order to address our behavior. Remember that? Yes. Form 3, the reality was beginning to strike as we began the CXC program and selected our subjects. We were resolved to face a new challenge. Form 4, sign up, SBAs, the entire works. It was clear that the time of reckoning was near. Form 5, before exams, when we had our last assembly, our final rest, an enjoyable time playing traditional games and enjoying a delicious cake in school before going to Maroon in Bel Air. Our principal, our dear principal. Others say Mr. Lindo, while I would say Daddy. Do any of you have an idea what a challenge it has been for me these past 5 years with my father as principal? When things went wrong and he found out, it was always Roshan that told Daddy. When someone got punished by the principal, they would surely have some words for me. Experiences such as these were far too many, and surely not so pleasant for me. Often I was angered and filled with resentment, but I made up my mind that this was just how people are. And by treating me unfairly at times, you showed me the crassness of society. This only pushed me harder to be the best I can be, to prove my standing and position in my class. For my willpower told me that I can't afford to let anyone extinguish my radiant light. For that class, I say thank you, because I know others have been through worse. In spite of this, I don't regret. These all are part of life still yet. Over time, it got better though, and through numerous incredible moments, ever closer we grew. So much so that today, I think I can safely say that you all are my friends whom I will never forget. Daddy, I love you, and thank you for upholding such a noble institution. From infancy, and more so, these last 5 years, your wisdom and knowledge conferred, I will never forget, because in my mind, they are forever etched. In retrospect, all of the negative and positive experiences which we have faced has caused us all to become stronger individuals, stronger future lawyers, healthcare providers, caregivers, engineers, fishermen, and artists. In whatever field we decide to make a career in, I compel all of you to make the best of it, be the best at it, and enjoy every moment of it, since a job is not worth having if we don't enjoy it. I quote, "Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful." Unquote. Albert Schweitzer. Of course, our ultimate goal is success, but we must be cautioned that success is not determined by passing exams or winning a race, but conversely, by our propensity to unceasingly aspire to greatness, to face the challenges of life head-on with courage and fortitude. Winston Churchill concurred the like when he said, I quote, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Unquote. We have been given many opportunities to build and showcase our talents in the countless competitions which the school has participated in to represent our families, and our school on the big stage. Intercall, Intersec, JA, debate, knowledge bowl, maths quiz, science quiz, choir competition, award ceremony, some of our most memorable times. The opportunities were many and great, while the experiences were enjoyable and worthwhile. A debt that is probably unrepayable to this school and its staff. In spite of our many secondary school experiences, there is little which can adequately prepare us for the many storms of life ahead. But through it all, we must stand tall and remain steadfast to our dreams and aspirations. Continue to trust in God, and He will be your source of help when you are in a valley in life. And remember to thank Him always for blessings bestowed. Thank you, God, for being at our sides in life. To our adopted parents, our teachers, and the staff in general, the conscientious people who have put up with us and taken care of us in school, instilling in us not only knowledge of the various subjects which we have studied, but also valuable life lessons about higher education, interactions with other people, and also societal norms and mores. How can we forget all those teachers who have sacrificed so much to have extra classes? Miss Bain, Mr. Moses, Miss Stewart, Miss Patrice, Mrs. Lawrence, and Miss Kelly's HSB class for almost an entire half day. But luckily, she would bring cake, pizza, and chicken for us to ensure that we remain focused. And Mr. Stewart will cook and bring, or he sends us to the principal with a little note to buy something for the students. And Miss McFarlane, my second mom, since Form 1 in debate, it's you I went to if there was anything going wrong. The list goes on. The counselor, Mrs. Martineau by 2, Miss B by 2, Mr. Modest and Miss Modest, you too. Miss Logan and Mrs. Emmons, of course. Mr. Noel, Mrs. Alexander, and Mrs. Knights from debate. Mr. Joseph, Miss Joseph and Mr. George, our PE family. Mr. Hamlet, Mr. Bato, Mrs. Charles, and Miss Regis, including, what more can we ask? Mr. Martineau, Mr. Frank, and Mr. Patrice, I'm sure to include the entire family. Oh, and Miss Legard, of course, who's still learning the ropes. And Mr. Cummins, Mr. Cox, the music man. But who did I forget? I think there's one more. Mr. Lendo, I'm sure. These are our folks from the HSS family, those who have taught us all the while. And I can't overlook the auxiliary staff, the cooks who fed us every lunchtime from the kitchen and tuck shop. The food was the best and secure. You always made your presence sure. And to our caretakers, thank you, we must say, since you did your best even when we left the school in a bit of a mess. Miss Hema, our secretary, you are simply the best. If we wanted anything to borrow, none other could test. To all our teachers and staff, we salute you. You are the devoted individuals who are often underappreciated. But to us, your input into our lives is indelible. We will never forget any of you. I take this opportunity now to extend our sincerest and most heartfelt gratitude to our parents, guardians, and other relatives, the bedrock of our lives, our first teachers who have supported and provided for us emotionally, physically, and financially. We know that it is not easy to deal with the dollar cents. In spite of this, you have never given up on us and have always pushed us to do our best, to achieve to our fullest potential. And for this, we are forever grateful. It is no wonder that despite our shortcomings, you are here today to celebrate this auspicious occasion. Can we give it up for our parents? Ultimately, what gives us our strength as a class united today is the diversity which exists among us. As the psalmist says, we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. 5 years ago, it felt as though this day would have never come, as though we would be frozen in this institution for a lifetime. For a moment, we thought we would never grow up, that the bliss of the secondary school life would be an ever-present reality. The road was not easy, but here we are on this stage, emboldened today in caps and gowns. To my fellow graduates, colleagues, and friends, as we take our departure from these walls, I say these things to you. Never let anyone tell you that you can't do something, not even yourself. You must be motivated and inspired, and you will make it. And in your quest to reach the top of the ladder, in whatever you do, beware. All that stands between the graduate and the top of the ladder is the ladder itself. As a lady once told me, don't be like the chickens who peck among themselves on the ground. Rather, be the eagle who soars to the highest heights. Today, we begin a new chapter in our lives. Today, we, the class of 2018, step out into the open to a world of uncertainty, a changing world, a world which requires us to continually adapt and rise to the many new challenges which our generation will face. Today, we went from graduands to graduates. No matter what path lies ahead of us, our destiny has already been written. God's plans for our lives are merely to be followed. Whether we go to the world of work, to college, or to university from here, we owe it to ourselves, our families, and to all the resources put into our education by our teachers, family, and others who have played an integral role in our journey to be a true and reflective representation of all their invaluable efforts. Today, we embark on a journey to fulfill our potential and purpose. So I say to all my classmates, dream big and don't settle for mediocrity. All the best in your future endeavors. Know that tomorrow is a gift wrapped in time. Now is the time to open it. Thank you all for your patience and attentiveness. Have a blessed day. Les deseo que todos sean exitosas en la vida de aquí y en adelante. I thank you.